Hi, this is Jessica Blanch. Welcome to Law Talk with Mike.
Let the record reflect this is a discovery deposition of Jessica. No, we're not doing that to you. We're not going to do that to you.
Cross-examine, as long as I can do it back.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. That's very, very cool. So I've been wanting to talk to you, but we just had a little chat, and I said I refuse to talk to you because there's things I want to talk to you about, but I don't want to do it twice. Okay. The first one came up is the video that we were just talking about, which puts me in mind of the Brooks case, honestly, and just a recalcitrant defendant, you know? That's you'd been on a bunch of videos, although you didn't know it, as I just found out right now, until then. But then a certain defendant who won't be identified, but his initials are JJ, makes the poor decision to threaten prosecutor Kirby. Yes. Who, by the way, is my favorite 16-year-old prosecutor in the entire United States. But she is like sweet thing, and he says some nasty stuff to her. And then I'm just covering this call because I know that this defendant's going to put on a show. And oh boy, you put on the show.
I didn't know about your program until that YouTube, because someone had sent it to me, and I didn't even know people were really watching court. Our courts are live streams, so sometimes we'll see like the comments. There's people will like email me or e-chat me the comments, and up until then, though, I didn't know there was YouTube channels. I had no clue. Which is also, I mean, this case you're covering, you have to think sometimes how the media affects prosecutors and defense attorneys and judges when you know the media is covering you or people are watching you, whether or not that actually affects your decisions while you prosecute or do your job. Which, I wonder, because that always, people's mind and how they, psychology, that is huge with me, how people kind of think things through and stuff like that. But,
oh, yeah. I think about it because I do this all day. So yeah, I do YouTube, and then I practice law, although whatever, it's not on YouTube in Illinois. So I practice in Chicago. And so sometimes my viewers will say, I really want to see it. I'm like, first of all, you don't. I do civil stuff. It's really boring. And second of all, I'm thinking, and I don't want you to see it.
Yeah, you have to, looking back at yourself, I feel like I have to overcompensate and smile here because, you get the whole, because I'm very stoic and I'm very, I try not to have expressions in court, but then you get the whole resting Blanche face, which whoever coined that was amazing. That was amazing. Or the ice queen or whatever.
The ice queen, yeah.
Whenever they say it's
yeah,
funny.
My viewers like you a lot, though.
Yeah,
they do.
Crystal Gale, and I never knew who Crystal Gale was until I had to Google her. I didn't know who she was.
You were in a video. That was another video, and somebody else mentioned it, and it made me laugh. I'm like, because I wouldn't have thought of it myself, but I'm like, oh yeah, I can see that.
I usually get Wonder Woman, or when I used to be in Oakland County for 10 years as a prosecutor. And they used to call me Duchess. They thought I looked like Kate Middleton at Pontiac District Court. So they call me the Duchess.
What county are you in right now? Are you in Washtenaw?
Washtenaw, yeah.
Oof, yeah. I did my time in Washtenaw.
You're in jail there, Mike.
Well, I don't know about that, but sort of. I went to school there, and it felt like jail.
Did you go to Ann Arbor?
Michigan?
Oh, wow.
I did. Undergrad, I did. So I know the situation. And anyway, okay. So I called to bother because I wanted your perspective on this, and I kind of know a little bit. I'm gonna make it easier for you. Jessica's working all day here, and so am I ostensibly. But let's face it, me working all day means Yesenia works all day, and then I check in. That's how it works in my office. But she's actually, prosecutor, public employee. She's got some limitations that I don't have.
And obviously, anything I say tonight has nothing to do with my office. This is after hours. Like, this is my personal viewpoint on anything. I'm not representing my office right now. I don't know
So
what you're
I
going
was
to
just
ask
wondering,
me.
have you seen any of the Waukesha situation or any of the case?
I have not. Like, I've watched little clips just of his behavior in court, but other
Yeah.
than that, when you are doing this full time, you tend to come home and just turn it off. You don't. I mean, my friends watch like Doctor Death or listen to podcasts, and oh, you should watch this, and it's the last thing you want to do. I mean, you're seeing terrible stuff every day.
Yep.
So you just don't even want to see another case after you're done.
I can relate, although it's fun. It's odd for me. Like since I started doing the YouTube thing, it surprises me. But like I do civil, so I'm watching criminal stuff. There is some therapy. We're all dealing with the same stuff. I saw Judge Middleton say, "Oh, I feel sorry for this judge in Waukesha today," when he's dealing with another crazy defendant in his case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's in St. Joe County. I was just watching a video on that. So like, you can relate to it, but there's something therapeutic. It's like, oh, that's a lot of problems. I can relate to it, but they're not my problems. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
This poor attorney, I'm glad I'm not dealing with it effectively.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of is our problem because it's society, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's the same
Yep.
stuff happening in different jurisdictions that, people are getting killed and I mean, things are happening in the world today that is scary, and we're all from different walks of life too. We all grow up in different bubbles. We see different things. We have different types of parents, and everybody's different. From the judge to the prosecutor to the defendant to the defense attorney and to the jury. And it's really hard to understand or know what to do in situations. And it's hard to watch stuff knowing just
it is
tragedy of stuff sometimes. And, a lot of times people that are committing crimes are victims themselves. So a lot of times when I'm dealing with victims of crime, there's a serious conversation of, okay, what's the next step in here? Have you gone to therapy? Have you, what are you doing to get over this? Because that could be your next defendant. We all have situations in our life and that could lead to tragedy, or things that we could do. And that sucks.
Not to get that serious, but I guess we're there already. So, I mean, I was a prosecutor very briefly, and in that, among other things, handled the juvenile call, very small county. And it's exactly what you're saying. Like, for instance, like if you're talking about SA kind of claims and stuff like that, I never saw a perp that wasn't previously a victim. I don't think I saw it once.
Yeah, and when you start
forever, but and I'm not saying that's a scientific, but I mean, in the cases I saw, which were many, every one of them was previously a victim.
It's the rare case, I think, that there's actually there's like narcissism. I mean, everybody wants to diagnose people with narcissism or some type of psychological impairment, but it's actually the rare case that someone is like that. It's usually they've been harmed themselves or hurt in some way or neglected at a young age a lot of times. So, juvenile is so important. I don't think we put a lot of time and, effort into the juvenile system and into victims that really could
That's
change.
The worst call to deal with.
Yeah. And I've never done juvenile. I've never done juvenile law either. I've always done straight up. I mean, we started off in district court when I was in Oakland County, and then you go straight to circuit. And I want to just do homicides. I wish I could just do those, but I've been running a felony docket and doing homicides primarily for the last, I don't know, 7 years. So And
in this case, and I just so people know, I asked her to be on, but she's like, I can't. It's during business hours, which makes sense. Because I wanted your perspective, but I really appreciate you coming on now. And I see what you're dealing with. The video we're talking about, I can't remember. The thumbnail is I called it Spicy Court. And the reason it was spicy, it's not because Jessica did anything. It was the defendant's statements. And the defense counsel argues for a reduction in bail. And you're like, oh, let me share you with you a few things, Judge, that came from this defendant. And it wasn't good, but you weren't holding back. I mean,
I actually have a terrible potty mouth in real life. It's really bad. My son had to tell me, when we go to school, you cannot swear.
You gotta tone it down, Mom.
Yeah, you gotta tone it down. It's bad. But I can hold it in court.
Part of that's life. Part of that's our profession. I mean, you see everything.
Yes. Yeah.
and you get kind of hardened in some ways. It's just, I mean, people don't come to us because things are going right.
No, it's
especially at a prosecutor's office. I mean, it can be the worst of the worst. All right, so there you have it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you can't do that. This case, I got drug into this case. I didn't want to do it because I try to do stuff that's more fun. Obviously, a lot of it's criminal, but we don't have the consequences like this Waukesha case where a guy drives into a parade, kills 6 people, injures 60. Just tragic, horrible stuff.
terrible.
And so, in fact, I didn't even want to see tomorrow. The prosecution is going to close on it. I wish you could watch it, but I know you can't. I know. I get it.
I'll watch it back. I just can't during office hours
Right.
comment. I mean,
the prosecution's been rock solid in this thing, not overreaching, right on top of it. And they're dealing with a guy who chooses to represent himself, pulls the sovereign citizen nonsense on top of just the stupid. Yeah, you know, if you just pro se by itself is going to be a train wreck in and of itself. But I mean, this guy literally questions jurisdiction at every break. Every time they reconvene court, he's like, well, what about jurisdiction? To the point where she issued a written ruling on it to him, which he ripped up in front of her.
Sometimes those cases are hard because they'll quote something and I'm like, I've never heard of that law that you're trying, so then you're like, how do I even respond to this? And actually,
you said a Supreme Court case from 1876.
Yeah,
right. Like, I haven't read it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how do I respond to this and legally make sense when I don't even know what this is, And a lot of times, I mean, especially with driving while license suspended, a lot of sovereign citizens don't have driver's license because they don't believe you need one to be on the roads. A lot of times if they represent themselves and we go out in a breakout room and you're just like, hey, listen, I get it. Let's talk about this. Then it kind of breaks down and then everything's fine. I think, and that's why sometimes it's having like a third party involved, like a defense attorney. If you can't emotionally connect with somebody, it makes your job kind of harder because you don't know where their mind is. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what their beliefs is. You're getting it from a third party. So a lot of times when it's one-on-one and they are representing themselves, sometimes it's easier because you kind of see an emotional aspect or a human element behind it. You can relate to them, human to human. There's no third party intermediary. So
yeah, the problem I think you have in a case like this is sort of fun. Like, and I'll go and I'll have a big laughs because some guy asserts a sovereign citizen defense and he's on a driving while suspended. Okay, well nobody died. It's stupid. Yeah. It's not going to work. It's hilarious. Yeah. This isn't funny based on the consequences of the event, certainly. And then you see what the judge and the prosecution are dealing with is they have no leverage left. This guy's never leaving jail.
Yes.
He's in contempt of court every moment he's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's like giving her the death stare. He's swearing. He built a box fort today. It was too bad you weren't there. He built a box fort. She put him in the other room. She puts him in timeout because he can't behave. And he takes the banker's boxes and then he hides behind him. I'm like, okay, that's funny. I mean, I know the case is tragic, but that itself is funny.
Yeah.
So,
and you wonder if he has a mental illness or something going on in his life. I mean, it's just the whole thing is it's sad. You're dealing with like a terrible tragedy, and then on top of having to deal with that, it makes it hard.
Yeah, it's really rough. All right, well, thank you for coming on. Tell everybody hi. Say hi to the viewers because they're all happy. See, she's not an ice queen.
No, I actually smile from time to time.
Smiles.
It's rare.
She's got to get off work first. That's all. All right, I'll find us a fun clip we can review together. I think you would enjoy watching maybe some Judge Manning. Check it out. You'll see what I'm saying. You'd enjoy her. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Nice meeting you, Mike.
Nice to meet you.
All right, bye.
Here at Law Talk, we like to have fun with silly stuff that happens in court, and every once in a while, and completely by accident, I assure you, you might learn something. Thanks for watching.